Welcome back. All right, so first night of action in the NHL. Is everybody good? Nobody's overreacting, right? Of course they are. Of course they are, because it's the first night of the regular season for every team that played tonight, and of course people are overreacting because that's what people do in sports. And I'm here for it. I love the meltdowns on the Twitters. I think they're funny. I get a kick out of it, and I'll talk about it a little bit as we go through this. So we're going to start off with the Washington Capitals at home against Boston. The Capitals didn't get the memo. If you're a home team tonight, you had a pretty good night. If you're a road team, you didn't, except here. So it's Ullmark versus Kemper in this one. Ullmark with the start. The plan is they're going to switch back and forth, Swayman, Ullmark, and see who emerges. But Montgomery wants to do it 50-50. Early jump for the Caps. Strome has a tip that's kicked aside. I thought Dylan Strome did well tonight. Fans call a penalty. The ref doesn't. That was a theme tonight. The Caps then go to a power play anyways. Kuznetsov hits the outside of the net. They cycle it. It's killed off, but the Caps press for more. There's a post for Clifton as the Bruins press back. They then get a power play. Bergeron had a blast that was held. The next chance he had was not. He scores on the power play from Pastrnak and Krejci at 7:58. Buries a rebound in. Boy, did Krejci look good tonight or what? So let's have some overreaction there, right? So Krejci was patient. Kemper held on to that one. That was a nice play by Krejci, reminiscent of what Kopitar did last night, kind of, sort of. Trying to outweight the goaltender. Johansson's denied for the Capitals. Ullmark, I thought, looked good early to this point. Orlov has a blast that stung his teammate, Nick Dowd, so don't do that. Don't hurt your teammate. Then there's a post for Jensen. The Bruins cleared out, and then Pastrnak scores to make it 2-0 from Krejci and Clifton at 15:03. So there's Krejci with 2 assists in the first period, making it look easy. On pace for, let's see, it was 6 points a game, about 500 points. DeBrusk with a net drive, that's held. The Caps get a power play, that's killed off. So after the first period, it's 2-0 Boston. Second period, early press by Washington. There's a crossbar for Orlov, that close to 2-1. Zaka's then denied. The next shot deflects out as Boston kind of gets some pressure of their own. DeBrusk was rattled by a check. He landed on his left arm, and it was in such a fashion that he couldn't brace himself. So, yeah, that looks like it hurts, and I'm sure it did. There was a stretch pass to Pastrnak, near miss there. Greer steals one near the blue line, but Kemper saves. And then Taylor Hall makes it 3-0. 3-0 was a dangerous lead tonight. Hall scores from Pastrnak and Riley at 6:14. He scored it on a rush. Great pass by Pastrnak, who had 2 assists and a goal to that point. So Pasta off to a roaring start. But Mantha would answer. It was a 3-on-2. Strome gets it. Mantha with the puck into the back of the net. Strome with the assist. Gustafsson with the assist at 7:34. So Dylan Strome in his debut gets an assist. Caps then get a power play. There was a shorthanded rush for Bergeron. Boston kills that off, allows 0 shots. And then Connor Sherry scores from Nick Dowd at 12:43. So suddenly, it's a 3-2 game. Caps press with 5.5 minutes left. They had some momentum. There's a near miss for Ovechkin, who didn't get a goal tonight. Caps get another power play. Carlson has a blast that's held. That power play's killed off. So we go to the third, and it's a 3-2 lead for Boston. Feels kind of precarious. Third period. Shots are 5-0 for the Caps at 3.5 minutes. What did I say about a 3-0 lead? Bruins get a power play. The fans disagreed with that call. It's killed off, though, just the 1 shot allowed. Lauko draws another power play. He had drawn the power play earlier as well. Drawed? What is that? Drawn the power play earlier. It's the regular season. Get your words right, Shannon. So yeah, Lauko with a decent game there. If you're drawing penalties on the other team, you're doing well. There's a shorthanded Connor rush that's held. So Connor Brown showing you guys that on the penalty kill, he's pretty good. Then there's a shorthanded 2-on-1. Eller is denied. That is killed off. We then had, with 7:30 left, no 5-on-5 shots yet for Boston in the period. They had a lot of shots at that point, but nothing. I think they had like 3 shots. They were all power play shots. And then Krejci would score from Pastrnak and Zacha at 16-17. So that's 5-on-5. That's a shot. And so Krejci with a goal to go with a couple of assists. What's a year off? No problem for Krejci at all. He buried the rebound on a rush, so Pastrnak with a monster night. Goalie pull with 3 minutes left. Ovechkin has a shot that's blocked with 2:07 left. The Caps call a timeout. Doesn't matter at 18:55. Hampus Lindholm from the other end of the ice gets the empty net goal. Your finals 5-2 for Boston, so they're 1-0. Washington's 0-1. The shots in this one, Boston outshoots Washington 15-12 in the first. The shots are 10-8 Washington in the second. 13-7 Washington in the third. They outshoot Boston 35-30. The power plays, Boston 1 for 3, Washington 0 for 4. The hits were 48-32 in favor of the Caps. Ullmark with 33 saves on 35 shots, and Kemper with 25 saves on 29 shots. So, not too shabby of a start for Boston. How did everybody else do? Well, Carolina and Columbus, and this game was a quiet game, meaning that there weren't a lot of prime chances, especially in the first period. So it was Tarasov versus Anderson in this one. Early press by the Canes. Tarasov looked sharp early. Shots are 3-0 Carolina at 3 minutes, so they were definitely the sharper team early on. Nyquist has a net feed. That won't go. The shots even up. They're 4-piece at 7.5 minutes. Columbus pressures. Canes with some back-to-back icings there. Momentum for Columbus, but they needed more shots on net. They were not getting enough shots in this one. Chatfield has a blast that's held, and it was a really quiet first period. Not a lot else to add. Second period, it's not quiet. 11 seconds in, Laine gets one from Werenski. It's a turnover, and it's in the back of the net 11 seconds in. Snapped it home, and that's a noisy start. So the Canes try to answer. Olivier then had a rush chance. That's held. Laine has a net drive that's saved. Jenner's denied. We get some shoving after that. And then Jarvis scores on a turnover at 5:11. So some sloppy play by Columbus there, and Jarvis gets the puck in the back of the net. Canes press for the lead. The hitting, the shoving, starting to ramp up here. Canes press at 9 minutes. Laine exits the game, and he went for x-rays. We'll see in the morning how it is, but yeah, Laine gets hurt after getting that goal, and that's bad news for Columbus if he's going to be out for any length of time. Power play then for Columbus. They scored. It was a cylinder goal, but it's challenged for offside, and it's no goal. So our first offside challenge, and it's successful this season. The Canes then finish off the kill. Columbus goes back to the power play. That was killed off. The Canes had a power play of their own. That's killed off. That's about it for the penalties right there. Shoving after a Tarasov save. Columbus with a near goal. The puck goes the other way, and Shea buries it from Natchez and Kotkaniemi at 18:30. And then Stepan's denied on a rush. So after 2 periods, it's 2-1 Canes. And you could feel the momentum was really starting to roll in Carolina's favor. And that continued in the third. Jenner with a net feed nearly goes in early on. Could have changed the complexion of the game completely. Did not. Good back and forth early on. Jenner fires one high on a rush. The shots are 6-4 for the Canes at 4 minutes. Both goalies playing well, and both were busy early in this one. And it doesn't stay that way. One stays busy, the other doesn't. Aho steals one, rushes it, and then Jarvis with kind of a whiff on his opportunity. But then Natchez doesn't whiff on his opportunity from Stepan and Martinuk at 6:29. Canes then get a power play, and seconds after that power play ends, they score to make it 4-1. It's Svechnikov from Natchez and Stastny at 9:18. So it's become 4-1. This game is basically done at this point. Columbus not looking like a team that's going to score 3 goals and come back. Canes are in total control. There was shoving after a hold by Freddie Anderson. And there's Freddie chants all over tonight. There were plenty of chants for Freddie throughout the game. And the Canes win this one 4-1. Columbus loses their opener in regulation. Canes win theirs. So, yeah, Columbus 0-1. And rough start for Gaudreau. I mean, obviously losing one of your top line mates early in the second period doesn't help. The shots in this one were 10 apiece in the first, 14-13 Columbus in the second, and then 20-8 for Carolina in the third. Final shots are 43-32 for Carolina. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 2. The hits were 26-22 for Columbus. Tarasov, 39 saves on 43 shots. Anderson saved 31 out of 32. And there you go. All right, next up, Toronto and Montreal. So this is where the reactionary stuff comes in. One game for Matt Murray, and all I saw on Twitter was that he sucks, and Leaf fans are done with him, and I imagine that one more rough start for Murray, and the Fire Dubas stuff comes out. If it hasn't come out already, it'd be possible. It's quite easy for this to escalate quickly. So as Murray versus Allen, Suzuki had the flame. This was a long pregame. This one thing that I forgot tonight, where I was like, well, these games should be over early, and then I was like, oh, right. The pregames are long for season openers. There's a reason I never want to have a ticket for a home opener. It's just I don't go for all the pomp and circumstance. I'm like, just drop the puck. I'm an old man. Just drop. I don't have a lot of time left. Just drop the puck. All right. First chance goes to the Leafs. Allen holds on that one. The Habs get an early power play. It's killed off. No shots generated on that power play. Matthews has a rush chance that's held. The Habs get another power play. Caulfield's denied. Murray holds on to that one. Gallagher couldn't bury it, and the Leafs do manage to clear the puck out. The power play's killed off. The 2 shots are allowed on that one. The Leafs with some good forechecking. Harris has a rush chance that's held, and then Bunting opens the scoring in this one to make it 1-0 Toronto from Marner and Brody at 11:41. And it was a press after a turnover by Toronto, and they converted it. It was well played. Allen then denies Yarncroke. The Habs get another power play. So definitely a lot of power plays in this one early. It's not successful. Monahan was robbed, the rebounds cleared, and then why it's not successful, you get 1 minute and 14 seconds of 4-on-4. Evans with a net feed, that's blocked. Everything's killed off. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey. Gallagher fires one wide on the rush. The Habs press as the period comes to an end. So we're going to the second period with Toronto ahead 1-0. Caulfield makes sure that that lead doesn't last. He scores at 33 seconds from Suzuki and Savard. It was a beautiful 2-on-1. Great pass by Suzuki, and Caulfield buries it. So there's going to be some Caulfield jerseys getting sold based on tonight's game. But yeah, the Leafs then press at 2 minutes. There's a power play for Toronto. Matthews and Nylander with prime chances. They're saved, and that power play is killed off. Nylander has a blast that's saved, but then Malgin puts Toronto back into the lead from Tavares and Nylander at 9:06. So Malgin fitting in on that line and getting a goal. Jack-I is then denied as the Habs try to answer. The Habs, they get a power play. It's what they did. This was their last power play of the night, though. Suzuki with a net feed, near miss there, and the power play is killed off by Toronto. Dvorak has a rush chance. That's kicked aside. Malgin's denied on a break, and then there's a turnover. They pass the puck. It was Muzzin, passes it right up to Caulfield, and he wires it at 15:56. It's 2-2. And the excitement in that crowd when Caulfield scores is just, it's reminiscent of some of the better Montreal Canadiens that have come through in my lifetime. You can just sense the excitement about Caulfield and his play. Things get pushy then after a Matt Murray save. Kerfoot has a penalty shot. Jack-I looked terrified on the bench when this penalty shot was upcoming. Kerfoot has it saved, and Weidman goes to Jack-I and just says, look, it's done, it's finished, and you just move on. It's what's done is done. Don't worry about it. Let it roll off. And that is fantastic advice, and it's always nice to see a veteran go over to a player who's making his debut and say, look, just settle down, no problem. And it wasn't a problem when you look at the score. But after 2 periods, the score's tied at 2. Third period, fans called one, the ref doesn't. That's kind of rude. The hometown fans are always right. Evenly played early. Solid game, I thought, for the Habs. So I'm already at this point saying, you know what? It's a tie game. It's early in the third. Habs looked good. Now, maybe this is a case of Toronto not playing well, but yeah, I thought Montreal looked good early in that one. Caulfield has a turnover chance, hits the outside of the net on that. Engvall has a net drive, that's saved. The Leafs get a power play. A lot of booing for that power play for Toronto. That power play was killed off. There's a press by Toronto with 9.5 minutes left. And I'll say this, the booing against Toronto from Montreal fans is different than the rest of Canada. Rest of Canada, when Toronto Maple Leafs play, you will hear a lot of Leafs chants. And I mean, there's some in Montreal, but it doesn't feel like it's as prominent as it is in the rest of the country here. The shots are 8-4 for the Leafs with 6 minutes left. And what am I saying? There's times in certain American buildings where there's a lot of Leaf fans too. So yeah, the Leafs are playing well. They can't beat Allen. 5:56 left. The Leafs get a power play. And this is where I said, all right, so the Leafs are going to score. Their power play's lethal. It's fine. You know, Montreal's put in a good showing. Nylander and Tavares near misses by both, and that's killed off. And then Monahan on a good press. Monahan, I would love to see Monahan have that bounce back season. He scores from Harris and Doc at 17:30 on a good press. So Doc with his first point as a Montreal Canadian, and Monahan with the goal in that same play. But Nylander ties it up 40 seconds later on a 2-on-1. He scores from Tavares and Riley at 18:10. And all I could hear was myself in my head saying, yeah, this is what's going to happen. They're going to score a lot. They're going to allow a lot. This is how Montreal's going to play this year. It's going to be fun because I've said that so much it's in my own head. But the tie doesn't last till the end of the game here. It doesn't last till overtime. With a little less than 18 seconds left at 19:42, Josh Anderson, who likes playing against Toronto, scores the goal from Suzuki that would prove to be the game winner. The Leafs call a timeout, but they're unable to tie it. Your final score is 4-3. Montreal wins their home opener. Remember, Montreal last year buried themselves early in the season. If they get off to a good start, there's always a surprise team. Toronto 0-1. They've got to shake this one off because they have a busy schedule. They're at home tomorrow night against a Capitals team that isn't going to be in a good mood. They're going to be pretty ornery. So Toronto has to shake this off quickly. The shots in this one, 8 apiece in the first, 13-9 Toronto in the second, 11-6 Toronto in the third. The final shots, 32-23 for Toronto. Both power plays went 0 for 4. The hits were 19 apiece. Murray, 19 saves on 23 shots. 3 of the 4 goals were scored glove side. So this is definitely something Montreal knew to shoot for, and it's something to keep an eye on going forward. Samsonov's playing tomorrow, but Murray's got to close that up. Allen saved 29 out of 32 and looked pretty good. That being said, I need to change boards. So, Chicago, Colorado. We kind of knew how this was going to go down, right? So it's Mrazek versus Georgiev in this one. Of course, they had the banner raising. They had the all the small things, sing along to start the game. All that fun stuff. The Avs had the early jump as well, to the surprise of no one. Although Eddie Olczyk did his best on commentary to get the Hawks going. He did his absolute darndest to try to get the Hawks and to talk up the Hawks as much as possible. Radish had a rush chance that was saved. McKinnon then with a net drive, that was defended. Now, I'm not trying to say, I want to say, before anybody says he's saying Olczyk is biased, no. Olczyk clearly is more familiar with and cares about the Hawks, and that comes through. I don't think that's necessarily considered bias. I don't see that. So McKinnon net drive defended. McCarr's then robbed. Mrazek holds. It's all Avs. McKinnon's denied. There's a power play for the Avs. That's killed off. They get 2 shots on it, and then Cogliano opens the scoring, deflects it in. McKinnon and Taves with the assists at 13:44. Mrazek reacted like he was expecting something else and didn't see it going where it went. It kind of goes through his feet there. So I think he was expecting something, and then that deflection just threw it all off. The Hawks, though, they get a power play and they score on it. It's Jonathan Taves from Kurashev and Athanasiou at 15:52. So Taves, a player that I'd like to see get off to a good start. I'd like to see him have a bit of a bounce-back season from a down year last year. That's a good start. So it was a nice cross-ice pass, too, by Kurashev. Nice eyes on that one. The Avs then draw a power play. Lafferty shot blocks. The Hawks clear it out, but the Avs do score on that power play. It's Nichushkin from Rantanen and Lehkonen at 17:07. The Avs get another power play after that. That was killed off. So second period, there's a post for McKinnon on a rush opportunity. There's a too many Avs, but they don't call it, so there's that. Taves with a rush, and I mean, all the Hawks are yelling, but nothing's called. Taves with a rush chance, that's deflected wide. The Avs then get a power play, and they score on it. It's Lehkonen from Rantanen and McKinnon at 3:49, and this is where you can just feel 3-1's probably too much of a hill for Chicago to get over. It's just probably not going to happen, right? So great cycle, great goal. Sedlak then had a rush chance, that was saved. Sedlak played well tonight, so Sakic, again, he's batting 100 or 1,000. Not 100. You're batting 100, you're in trouble. Batting below your weight's not good. The Hawks have 5 shots at 28 minutes. If you're below 100 pounds, you need to see a doctor unless you're a kid, and why are you up this late? So the Hawks had 5 shots in the first 28 minutes of this game. Not a great start. The Avs get another power play, and they score on this one too. It's Lehkonen again. He loves playing in Colorado. From Rantanen and McCarr at 10:12. So Rantanen with 3 helpers there. The Avs press with 6.5 minutes left. Seth Jones had a 3-minute shift as the Hawks are pinned down and he can't get off the ice. The Hawks get a power play, though, with 1:37 left, so that rolls into the third. That power play is killed off, but then they go right back to having to kill another penalty. So within seconds of the one kill being done, the other one starts. And Domi scores on the power play for Chicago. His first point is a Blackhawk from Tyler Johnson, Patrick Kane at 1:51. So Kane on the board, Johnson on the board. I mean, there's some good things here if you're a Hawks fan, right? So that's 4-2. The Hawks had the first momentum of the night. This is the first time where it looked like the Hawks had it together. They might be able to string something together with this one. But anyways, it didn't last. The Avs would have some pressure. The shots, though, were only 1 apiece at 5.5 minutes, and that one shot for Chicago had gone into the net. The Hawks press at 7 minutes. Sedlak blocks. Rodriguez then had a rush chance. That was defended. Taves has a chance from the slot. That was saved. Kane had a rush chance that was saved. The Avs press was 7.5 minutes left with 4:02 left. Jujhar Khaira takes a penalty that's going to end the game. And sure enough, on the power play, Nichushkin gets his second goal of the game from Makar and Rantanen. 4 assists for Rantanen. 17:03 is the time of that one. Makes the score 5-2. That's your final. The Avs win the home opener. Everybody goes home happy. Chicago 0-1 to start what's likely going to be a long season for Chicago fans. They're outshot in every period, too. Colorado 12-4 in the first, 10-6 in the second, 13-7 in the third. Final shots 35-17 for Colorado. Power plays. Chicago 2 for 3, so that's one thing Colorado needs to work on is the penalty kill. Colorado's power play, lethal, 4 for 6. Hits 33-32 for Chicago. Mrazek saved 30 out of 35. And Georgiev saves 15 out of 17. Mrazek's stats are going to be ugly this year. 857 save percentage, and yet I can't pinpoint him as the reason they lost. There was definitely some blame to go around there. Next up, Seattle in against the Anaheim Ducks. Big game here. So Grubauer versus Gibson in this one. This is another big momentum swing type game. The 3-0 lead isn't a problem in this one, but 3-1 is. So Wenberg gets the first chance, that's held. But then at 51 seconds, the Ducks open the scoring. It's Terry from McTavish and Strome. So both Strome brothers fitting in fine on their teams for opening nights. Good forecheck by Anaheim sets that up. But the shots are 5-3 Seattle at 3.5 minutes. And Seattle controlled most of this game, really. Power play for the Kraken. It then becomes 38 seconds of 5-on-3. Burakovsky has a rush chance. That's tipped out. Beniers has a shot blocked. And we're down to a 5-on-4 at this point. And they score during the 5-on-4. It's McCann from Beniers and Schultz at 10-13. So Beniers on the board there with an assist. And it's a tie game. Bjorkstrand's then denied on a fast break. He looked excellent tonight for Seattle. So that's one good takeaway for Kraken fans tonight. Both Bjorkstrand and Burakovsky looked very good. Seattle's in control. 16 shots in the first 12.5 minutes. So, yeah, pretty much in control of this game at that point. Ducks get a power play. That's killed off. Burakovsky has a blast that's held as they press. 59.7 seconds left. Seattle gets a power play. Bjorkstrand hits the side of the net, but we go to the second period. Seattle's still on the power play to start the second, and they score in that abbreviated power play that's left. 38 seconds. Burakovsky from Dunn, wired far corner. Good luck on that one. No chance for Gibson there. Burakovsky showing why Seattle went out and spent money on Burakovsky. Seattle then presses for another. Now they're up 2-1. The shots are 4-2 in their favor 4 minutes into it. The Ducks press, can't get to the net though. Seattle goes back to the power play. Donato fires one high from the slot, but Bjorkstrand buries it on that power play from Schultz and Donato at 6:28. I thought Justin Schultz had maybe the best game I've seen him play in a while, offensively. Defensively, Seattle, bit of a misadventure tonight overall, but hey. And in reality, it's either going to be the defense you blame for how this game went down, or you're going to blame the goaltending. You guys can let me know your thoughts. And the newbies definitely helping the power play. Burakovsky and Bjorkstrand. Again, not a surprise that they're getting the power play goals. They will get opportunities for more goals on the power play in Seattle than they did where they were in Columbus or Colorado. So these guys are making the most of it. Kraken also getting easy entries into the Anaheim zone. They weren't being stood up at the blue line at all. I was amazed at how easy it was for them to get in across that blue line. Bjorkstrand has a rush chance that saved. Schwartz then had a tip saved. The rebounds cleared out. But with 2:46 left, the Ducks get a power play. And the Ducks' power play was good last year in the first half of the season. It looks good to start this one too. Strome scores from McTavish and Zegras at 18:24. So Strome with a goal and an assist to this point. And that makes it 3-2. And it was a big momentum swing because the Kraken just had a shorthanded 3-on-1. The puck goes the other way and they bury it. Seattle tries to answer, but they run out of time, so we go to the third with Anaheim down 1. Early press by Anaheim. We then had a fight between Borgen and Comtois, which I guess maybe fired up Seattle because at 4:09, they get the 2-goal lead back. It's Beniers from Schwartz and Soucy. So Beniers with a goal to go with his helper earlier. Schwartz then had a rush chance saved, and it looked like, hey, these guys are going to win it. Regenda then had a net drive that was saved. So I was pronouncing it Regenda. Sorry, it's Regenda. And yeah, he looked good tonight. So now I know who he is. I've watched him play. Yeah, he was pretty good for the Anaheim Ducks. Ref wasn't calling the penalties with the fans. The fans called quite a bit that was not being called. And I mean, Seattle did have more power plays tonight, right? Eberle's denied and close, but then Vetrano scores from Strome and Klingberg at 9:56. So now Strome's up to 3 points, and that gets them within a goal. 7 minutes and 40 seconds left. The Ducks then get a power play, and they score on it. It's Zegras from Klingberg and Terry at 13:23, and it was a one-timer right into the back of the net. Ducks press for the lead with 4:23 left. Seattle gets a power play. This is only the second time that Anaheim kills one off, but it's a key time, and they do kill it off. Shattenkirk saved a goal while that was going on, and then Gibson with some magic as well afterwards. So we're going overtime. The Ducks controlled early. Larson was denied on a break for Seattle. The puck goes the other way, and it's in the back of the net. It's Terry from Gibson at 55 seconds. John Gibson makes the save on the Larson chance, and then headmans it to Terry, who's in and gets the goal. Beautiful pass by Gibson. Good heads-up play. And so the Ducks win this one 5-4. I wore Ducks for the preview. Because when it was 4-2 for Seattle, I was like, uh-oh. People are going to say my jersey jinxed it, which isn't a thing. So 5-4 is your win, your final score. Anaheim 1-0, but Seattle gets the point. They're 0-1, so that's key. The shots 20-10 Seattle in the first, 14-8, or 13-8 in the second, 14-8 in the third. Both teams had one shot in overtime. Anaheim the one that matters. Final shots 48-27 for Seattle. So they outplayed Anaheim, just couldn't get the. And again, I don't want to put this on Grubauer. They just, the opportunities Anaheim had, they buried them. The power plays, Seattle 3 for 5, Anaheim 2 for 3. Hits 22-15 for Seattle, so they out-hit him as well. Grubauer saves 22 out of 27. Gibson saves 44 out of 48. So we'll see how Seattle does, because tomorrow night they're in LA. So there's no rest here. They go right to LA tomorrow night, which you would think would be a tougher opponent than Anaheim. And LA's got to feel kind of ticked about losing their opener as well. So we'll see how that one goes, right? All right, last game of the night, I promise. Vancouver in against Edmonton. For some reason, the reviews early in the season are much longer than they tend to be later in the season. So as this game was ticking down, I had to look up, because I know I used to read the Province all the time. It was like solace for me after the Canucks lost a game. And grabbing a loss from the jaws of victory, credit goes to Jim Taylor, that every time a game goes like this, I remember him saying the Canucks grabbed a loss from the jaws of victory. Because, of course, you always hear about grabbing a victory from the jaws of defeat. The Canucks go the other way. And this reference is from 1988. So most of you weren't born then. So what happened tonight? Oh, I've seen this before. And I've seen it against the Oilers. I'm thinking 1988. So I picked a good logo for the review. I probably should have thought that one through a little bit. There you go. So it's Demko versus Campbell. 11 forwards, 6 defensemen for the Oilers. Do not be surprised when teams are playing a man short often this year. Pushy after Campbell hold. It's a salary cap thing. But Pettersson scores at 152. It was Holloway with the turnover, and Pettersson gets to the net and he buries it. So good start to the season for Pettersson, at least early. Then Miller scores from Besser at 240. It was a 3-on-2 rush. They bury it. And that's back-to-back shots as well. So having watched what Matt Murray did, I was like, well, maybe in the review I'll be able to tell Leaf fans, well, look, Mrazek's numbers weren't great, and Campbell wasn't great either. Campbell would recover from that and actually had a pretty darn good game. So Horvat's denied as the Canucks are forechecking and doing quite well at this point in the game. Power play for Vancouver, that's killed off. Get used to me saying that. There's discussion of the officiating. I'll get into that. So the Oilers press, they're kept to the outside. Holloway has a rush chance, that's saved. The Oilers press with 9 minutes left. With 3:35 left, the Canucks get a power play. There's a shorthanded 2-on-1 for the Oilers. They fire wide on that. The Canucks, they can't get set up. The power play's killed off. They did manage 3 shots. Nothing overly dangerous on that one. The fans call a penalty. The ref doesn't. Nurse then with a hit at the horn. And it's a late hit, so they have to call it. It's one of those things that you look at that and you go, so Darnell, what were you thinking there? But it was a late hit. So power play to start the second period, and the Canucks score to make it 3-0. It's Kuzmenko, his first NHL goal at 39 seconds from Miller and Horvat. So Miller with the goal and an assist, and the Canucks are up 3-0. Remember what I said about 3-0 leads? Yeah, you guys can read. Demko was without his, or wait, forget I said that. So that's wired far corner. Pearson's then denied on a break. Bouchard then had a rush chance that was saved, and you could feel that the Oilers were going to be dangerous in transition, and also special teams are an issue here. So the Oilers press at 3 minutes. They end up getting a power play. Now, during this moment in the power play where they scored a goal, Demko didn't have his stick, and Hughes had taken a high stick that had drawn blood. The high stick was missed by the referee. It happens. It's not the end. It happens in a lot of games. Draisaitl gets the goal from McDavid and Barrie at 4 minutes and 12 seconds. So Hughes exits for repairs, and Canuck fans are upset tonight. My answer to that is the Canucks had a lot of power plays to get that one back, and they didn't. And so while that is a momentum swing, they were still up 3-1 at this point, and this is where you would hope they'd lock it down. This is where the Bruce Boudreau Canucks would normally lock it down. They don't. So the Oilers press. They had the momentum. Besser then had a net feed. That's held. The Oilers press at 8.5 minutes. Near miss for Ryan Murray. Horvat's denied from the slot. The ref's told that he has more than a 0% suck meter, that his suck meter wasn't quite at 0. You guys know what I'm talking about. Canucks get a power play. Hughes was back at this point. It's 5-on-3.5 then, as Shore's stick broke, but the Oilers survived that. So you have a forward out there without a stick. It's like a 5-on-3, and you should be able to expose that, and the Canucks just couldn't. The Oilers did manage that kill. 6:05 left. The Oilers get a power play, and they score immediately. McDavid scores the power play goal from Draisaitl and Hyman at 14:01. It was so quick, I didn't even put PPG next to the McDavid goal. Canucks then get a power play. Miller's denied on a fast break. Bouchard was then denied on a rush after the kill was over. Podkolzin draws another power play. And guess what happens? Oilers score shorthanded. Again, this is an 80s throwback. They're wearing the 80s style jerseys again, so sure. Nurse gets the goal shorthanded from Draisaitl at 19:19. It was a shorthanded 3-on-1. So again, we can all look back on, well, Hughes, he'd been cut. That should have been 4 minutes. Sure. But they scored shorthanded. This is where the Canucks are supposed to get that power play goal to get that back, and they didn't. So it's tied after 2, and that's when I had the records on there already. It was like, well, the Oilers are winning this. There's no way that now they have the momentum and it's tied after 2. There's no way the Canucks are pulling this one off. The Canucks press at 1.5 minutes. Demko then denied Ceci. The rebound ends up going out of play. Nurse with a net drive, that save. The Canucks draw a power play, but pretty quickly it becomes a 4-on-4. The shots are 5-0 for the Oilers at 8.5 minutes as all of that gets killed off. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is denied. Demko holds, but the Oilers with the momentum. Pullman has a shot held as the Canucks press, but then McDavid just buries one from Hyman at 15:01, and that gives them the lead. And as soon as that happens, well, again, the Oilers are a contender. I don't think that you can say this enough. The Oilers are definitely a contender, and I said that in the video where I was talking about where I thought teams were in terms of contenders and not contenders. And the Oilers are a better team than Vancouver. But again, it was a 3-0 lead. 3:35 left. Kane goes to the penalty box. So this is your chance if you're Vancouver, right? And then with 2:37 left, they pull the goalie to make it a 6-on-4. Again, this is where if the Canucks are going to be like they were last year under Boudreau, they're going to come back and get that tying goal. Doesn't happen. Besser takes a penalty with 2:14 left. It was a careless high stick, and that ends it. Then it's an empty net goal. It's McDavid from Kane at 19:35. It's technically a power play goal, but it was 5-on-5 because the Canucks had pulled the goaltender. And that's the hat trick for McDavid. So hats rain down on the ice. Oiler fans go home happy. 5-3 is your final. They're 1-0. The Canucks are 0-1. And yeah, so the Canucks now, they have to dust themselves off and get ready for a game in a couple of days. Your shots, Vancouver outshot them in the first and the second. 14-8 in the first, 14-7 in the second. Third period, Edmonton outshoots Vancouver 10-8. Final shots, 36-25 for Vancouver. Power plays, Vancouver 1 for 8. The Oilers 3 for 4. The ref didn't screw the Canucks. Their special teams did. Hits 39-31 for Edmonton. Demko saves 20 out of 24. Campbell saves 33 out of 36. So with these games in the books, and I'm going to start tracking this because why not? That is 10 out of 1,312 NHL games that are done. So with over 1,300 games left, nobody's panicking tonight, right? Of course they are. I could do a panic index tomorrow. All right. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.